water man used to water
Okay.
the signal dish.
So we're live.
You're the only one in the stream.
Yes, we're okay. What am I doing? Let me send the email first.
White thin film of salad dressing has been awarded to Deathmatch.
I sent like 100 emails today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a full routing package. I got mine on Brooklyn, but they come from like the northwest Europe.
Let's say, how do you
Yeah. They're always true. A lot of colors. Yep.
That's on my laptop.
I'm sorry.
It's
It's live right now, but then I have to like tell people that
Okay.
it's live.
I mean, I want to make a quick announcement,
Okay.
and then
You can do it.
start whenever you're ready and introduce her. I'm just
Okay, go ahead and make an announcement. Yes.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. I had one good afternoon back. We're running a few minutes behind. Sophia is working diligently to get our live stream up and sent out so people can watch from a distance. Hi, if you're joining us from the internet. I want to make a quick announcement. I know some of you have come because you were promised credit or coursework or something there. There is a sign-up sheet going around for that purpose. Make sure you get on that sheet. If you come back next Monday and say, oh, I was there, but I forgot to sign the sheet, and they say, oh, Schaefer was there. He saw me. That's me. I'm Schaefer, by the way. For those of you in the 130 that I haven't met, but don't go in and be like, he was there. He will vouch for me because I won't vouch for you. There's too many of you. I don't know you. I can't vouch for you. So get your name on the sheet so you can get credit. We will distribute copies of those to the instructors giving out credit for that. First note. Second note, do not put your name on the sheet and then leave, because then I will figure out who you are and I will strike your name from the sheet. And then you'll be on my bad list. So
I leave it like 3:50.
That's fine.
Okay.
Just don't sneak out in like 2 minutes.
No.
Like, oh, I put my name on the sheet.
That would be good.
We may be done by then anyways. So those are my announcements. Welcome to our Friday talk. We will get started here in under 3 minutes. I'm making that guarantee. As soon as Sophia's ready, she'll introduce us.
I'm ready.
So,
Okay.
thank you guys for being here.
Sweet. So, hi, I'm Sophia. A few of you met me before on the email list, and I send out emails. We're gonna do a raffle right after for this like sweet tea. It's code for Greensboro. We only have one this time, so you have to stay for the whole thing if you want the t-shirt. Get a chance to get the t-shirt. So I really wanted to bring Anita in, Code for Greensboro, because I thought that this would be an opportunity for everyone to build their portfolio. Not only build their portfolio, but be a part of something great and make their community better outside of school. There were other announcements. Oh yeah, so we're gonna do the same format as last time, which was we'll have a talk or people talk, and then afterwards we'll do lightning talks or announcements where we talk about what we learned this week from class, from life, that you want to tell everybody. So I'm not going to wait any longer. This is Anita from Code for Greensboro. She's missing a person. I'm a whole person.
So if anyone wants to know what makes Sophia really happy, it's stickers. So if she can never do anything for you, the way to bribe her is with stickers. Or emoji, but that's probably TMI. So I am Anita Capiro. I am a co-captain of the Code for Greensboro Brigade. I also am the co-founder of a web and UX design and development shop here in Greensboro. And with Sophia's wonderful assistance, I also run Triad Tech Women, which is a technology meetup that is sort of looking to build a community in a few different ways with women at all levels in technology and industries and things like that. So if you want any information about that, you can come see me afterwards. So long as you identify as a woman in technology, you are more than welcome, and we meet once a month. Does anybody know what Code for America is? Well, you know, because you were there. Code for America is a volunteer-based international organization that focuses on civic technology. So they sort of marry technologists like you all with municipalities to improve on services both to the citizens and for the citizens from the city, but also to provide the city with an easier and more effective way of hearing what the citizens really need. So we're working on a few different things in the brigade here, which are really interesting. We have an amazing relationship with the city of Greensboro, which was actually really unexpected. Greensboro, I've only been here for a year, and I love it, but it didn't strike me as the type of place where you could walk into a city building and be like, hey, I want all your data, and have them say, sure. So, and that's basically what they're doing. And we're having a hackathon this November, and one of the great parts about that is the city has partnered with Socrata, and knowing too much about them really isn't important right now, but they're building and providing a open data portal for the city of Greensboro, and that portal will be unveiled at hackathon. So all of the teams that are going to compete will have an ability to use the city's actual open data portal, which is exciting. And sort of puts us on the map in North Carolina. There's a lot of stuff like that going on in the Triangle, but not so much in central or western parts of the state. Let's see. Oh, speaking of the rest of the state, there are more brigades for Code for America in North Carolina than in any other state, which is pretty significant when you think about places like New York and California, which is where Code for America is based. We have brigades in Cary, Raleigh, Durham, us, Charlotte, and Asheville, which means we're in the middle. So it seems like over the next year or so that all of the main statewide events are going to start to come here instead of Raleigh, which is great because we have a really good relationship with the Raleigh guys and gals, and they come to us, and that's really exciting. Some of the more specific things that we work on for civic technology are we're working on a program called City Voice. And essentially what it's going to look like to the citizens are posters. And the posters are going to have phone numbers on them. And the posters are going to be on things like buses, abandoned buildings, parks, even municipal buildings that are, sort of unnamed or unused or just ugly. And the city is going to ask questions like, hey, what do you think of this space? What would make you use this park? Why don't you come to this park? Why don't you ride this bus? And each of the numbers are going to be specific to the property, and all of that is run through Twilio. And so what that allows people to do is leave a message for the city, which sounds really lame, but it's better than a call center because we're building a dashboard for the city. But since everything we do is open, every one of you will be able to see what every other person is saying about something, which is really valuable to the city, especially now with the whole friendly Hobbs. Is anybody familiar with what's going on over there? They want to build a Trader Joe's, and the whole city is really angry about a Trader Joe's, and some people are not angry about it. And so because too many people are angry and too many people are yelling, the city can't do anything. And the city came to us and said, please use technology to make it so we can get the loud people to stop yelling, and we can hear the people who won't show up to talk.
What kind of data is Greensboro going to make available to us?
Well, so they want everything from this point on to be open data. So any new data that is created, they're hoping that they will make all of it open. There are certain types of data that they don't really want to give out, and that's basically anything that has to do with water or anything that's underground. And that's just for security stuff.
Yeah,
but
what about like parking tickets?
like directly data about
Yeah, who has a
individuals getting parking tickets?
No. How many they're issuing and like where they're issuing them, because I hate parking in Greensboro. It blows just categorically across the board, and that's something it would be fun to like actually look into.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, are they going to make that data available?
I think that if we were to request that data, which we probably will, now that you brought it up,
Okay.
it's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I got a person coming yesterday, so it's really fresh in my mind. Totally my fault. I didn't pay for parking.
Right.
But still. So, I forgot.
Yeah.
It's a long story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't.
Okay.
That doesn't really fall under
Okay.
anything that they would.
Okay.
Or I mean, it's, you know, I'm going on a tangent here, but I'm sorry. So if anybody has questions, throw your hands up. It works much better as a conversation than me just talking at you. That's no fun. Get people talking at you all the time. But every brigade in the country that wants to become an official brigade, you have to have a municipal partner. That's one of the things. And so that person has to be someone significant within the city. And our municipal partner is Jane Nichols, who is the CIO of the city of Greensboro. She's really awesome, and she's probably one of the biggest cheerleaders that we could have asked for. She is spearheading all kinds of programs. She was, you know, part of the committee that got City of Greensboro the Innovate NC grant just recently. We were picked as one of those 7 cities. That's really significant for us. And so her whole mission is to, obviously through technology, because that's her position, but to improve on as much as she possibly can. And now that she has this relationship with us, we're sort of like adjunct developers and designers for the city, because cities are really good at being government. Cities are really bad at technology. They just are. And they will freely admit it. And a lot of it is because everything is really slow. And not just their technology, but the whole process is just awful. And so much bureaucracy is involved. And if you can just pick up the phone and say, hey, we've got this really great idea, and you've got 130 people in your brigade, which we do, yay. Can you do it? We're gonna say yeah. There are certain things that brigades don't do. We don't get involved in any kind of politics. We seem like an incredibly liberal organization from the outside, but I think that's just the nature of what happens when you ask people if they want to volunteer a lot of their time to do the thing that they do professionally. You know, if you think about it, we've got a lot of developers that come off their jobs that they were just at for 10 hours writing code to come write more code. You know, and so to want to really do your job all day, every day, you know, you have to be a pretty magnificent person, I think. And I think that, so we avoid anything that's partisan, you know, we don't get involved in that. We don't take money for anything. And we do represent a pretty diverse group too. That's one thing I couldn't have planned that, and we wouldn't have been able to. But when you come to one of our brigade meetings, even our leader team, we're just a diverse bunch. That said, we need more women. Women are underrepresented in technology. I don't know if you knew that. It's tough. It's better here in North Carolina than any other state in the country, though. 1 in 3 technology workers in the state of North Carolina is a woman, and that's any ratio outside of the state. So don't leave. Please stay here and stay in Greensboro, because I know everybody's itching to get on a bus to Raleigh after you graduate, but you don't have to anymore. That's the other part of it for us is for Greensboro is we want to make Greensboro better because we really believe in it and we really love it. And a lot of people that are in the brigade are born and raised Greensburgers. Apparently that's what you all call yourselves. I didn't know that. I won't repeat that, but that's what I'm told by my partner in life who swears by it. But he's not here, so we can talk about him. He's supposed to be here, so whatever. But we believe in Greensboro, and we believe that Greensboro has a lot of potential, and Greensboro has tried to go through these sort of overhauls to be cooler than it is at the moment a few times, and those efforts haven't always been as successful as we would have hoped. And so we're trying to attract more technology workers to stay, because if we get more technology workers to stay, then more technology companies will come. And that's just the way that works. We can't get companies like Raleigh Software or Red Hat or anything like that to come here unless you all stay. So we're trying to build a community so you know that if nothing else, there are people here like you that would also sit in the room with you, no questions asked, and just make the city better, write code, design things, have fun. Yeah.
I know this is going back a bit.
Totally fine.
With the data that's being released,
Yeah.
What sort of data, is any of that going to come from UNCG Police Department? Like crime data, or from the fire department, or?
I don't think that
like
UNCG, I think that we
dispatches.
could probably, I mean, those are just that's just an issue of having a relationship with the people that would say yes or no to that, and we're not opposed to that. And in the next 6 weeks or so, specific to the hackathon, we're going to be approaching a lot of groups asking for data, because without data, there is no competition. So the city's data, I'm not exactly sure what's going to make it into the portal for that weekend. We have somebody that's sort of working on what we can find, because a lot of what's going to drive that data for that weekend is the projects that are coming out of the hackathon have a civic focus. So things like
I was thinking about predicting.
in general.
Yeah, predicting traffic backups based on accident locations. So if you know that there was a car accident, predict
This.
where the congestion is. Obviously, there's going to be congestion at the accident, but predict maybe down the road 3 miles that the highway exit's going to be backed up and alert people to that.
That would be great. You should register for the hackathon and come, and we will find you the data to do that. That's exactly. I mean, that's certainly something that's applicable. You had a question back there, did you not? You had a question.
I have a question that's somewhat related.
Sure.
So you say you partner with the city of Greensboro.
We do.
Do you guys also partner with other organizations like UNCG in the community or A&T?
We
Or
actually.
is that something you are interested in doing?
That is actually something that we are interested in doing, specifically on the college side. Yes. We have a lot of students in the brigade. So we have a lot of students from A&T and UNCG. We would like to have students from GTCC and stuff like that. Yeah. So those are definitely things that we'd like to do. Interestingly enough, we have relationships because of projects that we're working on with different departments of the schools. So we have a good relationship with Stephen Sills because he's really interested in housing equality, to put it very short and sweet. There's a lot that goes with that, but he's asking us to work on sort of a Yelp style app that would allow citizens of Greensboro to sort of weigh in on the properties that they're renting in a way that doesn't turn into Yelp. That is actually actionable data that he can use to present to minimum housing standards and things like that. Since there's so many problems there. But yeah, certainly we are trying our best to forge a relationship with universities. Our hackathon is actually at the joint school, which is really cool. There's a cray in the basement. If anyone's a super nerd like we were, we asked for that. I know you can see that. Let's see. So we're definitely working on that. We have relationships with other community organizations like the IRC, which is a day center that works with the community of people in Greensboro experiencing homelessness. We work with them as much as we can. We've been trying to figure out a way to work in the space of food deserts using technology, which is hard because in the areas that are affected by food issues, so food security, lack of access to food, there is also a lack of access to technology. So it's difficult to reach everybody. So we're always interested in figuring out ways to set up apps and services that will allow us to communicate with everybody. So accessibility is a really big issue when you're working on projects for the brigade, because you have to remember that some of the populations just aren't going to have equal access to things. So we have to spend a lot of time doing that. Yeah. Sophia, what am I missing?
For now.
Yes.
So I'm bouncing off of you with the project. Is that something that we could do as a hackathon? Because I know crime reports are not private, so it's already.
Yeah, I was
public
looking for like
safety
open
is-
case data. I wasn't looking for like John Smith shot some guy.
No. I mean,
I was
so
looking for,
long as
like-
data is open and local.
Police cars have been dispatched to this
Absolutely.
location. Fire departments have been dispatched to this location. You dispatched ambulances or things like that,
Yeah.
or you dispatched maintenance workers to this location.
Yeah.
Although that might fall into
Yeah.
location of pipe underground.
Well, I mean, it just depends. I mean, the city's not going to hand over data on.
Where your gas lines are.
Yeah, exactly.
That would not be a good idea.
If basically what we were told is if it's underground for a reason, and you have to have a good reason to need to know where underground it is. So, and that's fair. It's the world we live in. But I think that anything that would relate to public health, public safety, anything like that would be great. I live on Mayflower, which is right over there. a lot of people that go to park on my street, and that's awesome. But I've noticed that this year, I don't know if it's just me or not, I don't know. I've noticed that there seems to be an increase in activity in terms of crime on my street.
There was a break-in across the street from my apartment. Like, we got the email, and my buddy was like, "Oh, that's over there."
Yeah, and so I've read some statements coming out that say that the reporting is just better from UNCG this year, and I know that there's some type of better alert system that's in use and stuff like that. But certainly, that's an issue that I'd like to work on at the hackathon, because I think that safety is something that everybody kind of shares a concern over. Anyway, we'd be particularly interested in stuff like that. There's census data that can be used in all types of interesting ways. Transportation is another issue that we're always interested in seeing projects about. We'd also like to see more people using public transportation, but that's not really something that we have all that much control over. But groups come to us all the time and ask if we can help them create a way to remove the barrier between rider and bus. So there are all types of potential projects and things. And also Guilford County has a lot of data. Their IT department that works alongside the Register of Deeds office here is out of site. And they use technology that sort of runs circles around the city. The team that they have working in there is hilarious, and some of them write Ruby, so we have lots to talk about. That's the other thing. A lot of our projects are Ruby on Rails, mostly. There are some JavaScript projects that I sort of abandoned. I see Node and I run, but that's one thing that we always look for. There's not a whole lot of .NET stuff, even though we work with the city. We don't really work on the city servers, so that's not something that they want us to do, not surprisingly. We always need more designers, UX designers. Right now, there's 3 of us. Right? Sophia actually, she doesn't know, but she's at every meeting. She knows. But we're actually, our keynote speaker for the hackathon in November is Julia Ellman. She's a full stack developer from 18F, which is really exciting, and I can get to it in a minute.
Wait, so when does Code Greensboro meet?
We meet on is it the 1st and 3rd? 1st and 3rd Wednesdays of each month at HQ Greensboro.
Where's that?
It's on Lewis Street. It's off, do you know where the Forge is? We're right next door. It's a co-working space. I use that term a lot. There's not a lot of soft space on the inside. It's gorgeous. Sort of a extension in a way that I haven't really figured out what the relationship is, but there is a relationship between HQ Greensboro and HQ Raleigh. There is our kickoff for the hackathon is actually going to be there also. So we'll have drinks and food and things like that. But
Can you be a little bit louder?
yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely. Are people yelling?
No,
I'm kidding.
they're saying you're quiet.
I am. Not at all. Yes, we meet 1st and 3rd Wednesdays every month. And we do have over 130 members. I would say we trade out 35 at this meeting and then probably, a fresh group at the next meeting. But we have a Slack channel that I'll put the address on the board for before I leave. And you're all welcome to join us in Slack. If you don't know what Slack is, it's just a better, prettier version of IRC for 2015. Slack is everywhere. You should probably just join a Slack team.
I think I'm the only one who still uses IRC.
Are you? No, I know one other person. One other single person. But we also have a meetup group. If you do that kind of thing, we basically just use Meetup to schedule our meetings. It's just easier than people repeating themselves in Slack all day. We have a site, codeforgreensboro.org. Our hackathon page is up, so hackathon.codeforgreensboro.org. You'll be able to buy tickets. There's a student rate for tickets. It'll only be $10, I think. If it's 15, I'm sorry, I think it's 10. For students, and it's a 3-day event, so you get into the happy hour party thing on Friday, and you get to hack all day Saturday and Sunday, and we're expecting about 175 people this time, which is huge compared to the one that we had in June. There'll be prizes, and we have some really interesting sponsors so far, so looking forward to that. Anybody have any questions?
I have more questions. One, if someone attended a meeting, what kind of a time commitment or how frequently do you think people attend and spend time? Or is there a minimum like effort that you expect out of people that attend?
Bring your laptop, please. That's the minimum thing. And you don't have to bring your laptop and be prepared to write code on projects that you've never seen. That's crazy. We don't have an experience requirement, and there's no time requirement. We have some people that come to every single meeting, and we have some people that we only see once every, 6 weeks. And that's kind of why Slack is so important, because you're welcome to fork any of the repositories that are in our GitHub. It's public, and you can hack away on the issues lists and submit a pull request, and we don't ever have to see you if you don't want to come to meetings. But also, if you come to a meeting and you don't know if you're going to be able to work on the projects, that's also okay. We have a few people in the brigade who have taken it upon themselves to sort of work on I guess his position is developer evangelist is what he's called. And if you've never used GitHub before and you have no idea what version control is, shame on you, and we'll teach you. And from there, we'll get you started on how to do simple things that would get you into a better position to work on projects. But we are an all-inclusive safe space. So long as you want to be there, and so long as you want to learn how to contribute to these things, we will absolutely provide you the opportunity to do it in whatever way we can. And we welcome people who don't write a line of code and who have no interest in ever doing that also, because a bunch of nerds sitting around a computer, we're not going to be able to solve all the problems because we don't know what the problems are. A lot of the time we have no idea, and we haven't left the room in 12 hours. So we have no idea what's going on. And I say that completely honest, that is the life that we live. So without people who don't write code, or people who do and are more out in the community and have a better understanding of what some of these issues are, we can't accomplish anything. So it takes all kinds, truly.
So I think you addressed the second question I had, but that was going to be as far as like minimum experience, because I know a lot of the people here are maybe in 130, 230 that have just started their programming journeys. That you kind of and the point is, I want to make sure, I think that it's very inclusive and people should feel comfortable going and not feeling like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. They're going to be mean to me or that.
And plus you'll find that even the most experienced developers that we have either do not at all, nor have they ever written a line of code in the language we need them to on this project. So, we have people with decades of experience who are basically like learning how to ride a bike at this point, and no one's ever going to laugh. And most of us feel like we don't really know what we're doing a lot of the time too, and I think that's kind of just the nature of what we're doing. I think that's, if you really feel confident about it while you're developing something is about to happen. I'm really sorry, but that's what happens. And so I think that we remember that, and we're sort of a fun group, and we don't take ourselves or one another too seriously, and that helps. There's a lot of gifts, and we're really welcoming. And we remain conscious of one another's time, and we all are sort of growing a little invested in one another's lives, and we represent a really wide range of ages and lifestyles and family situations and careers, and somehow it all works. And so if you join us, it'll just sort of keep growing that way. It sounds really idealistic and weird, but it just really works. Anybody else?
Can you speak more to what you guys are currently working on as far as what's on the GitHub and what's going on?
We're trying to wrap up a project called Finda, which we're renaming. Finda is an app that started with the Code for Boston Brigade. And the way it started was as a dashboard that allows you to search for municipal services. So if you are sick and you need to find somebody to treat you for whatever ails you, you can go here and just sort of select different checkboxes, and the map will populate where those things are throughout the city. Ours is a little different because ours isn't focused on quite the same services. So right now we've got just municipal properties and parks and things like that, and it has museums and stuff. But the issue is that we built it in the same, by forking their app, and their app isn't responsive. And the one thing about our brigade is we're really, one of our co-captains is a designer, and he's really good at it. And so nothing can be ugly, and that's awesome. But so we're constantly looking, I think we're just gonna rebuild the whole thing, is basically what it comes down to, which is fine. And I think that we have a few people that have it almost there, but if you were to go to our GitHub and somehow get in touch with me, I'll have some cards here, you can email me if you'd like. And I add you to GitHub and you saw the issues list, it would mostly be about responsive issues and things like that at this point. We're also going to be working, starting next week, on a rebuild, sort of the code compliance website. And essentially what that is there are hundreds of properties in Greensboro that are somewhere in the life cycle of first complaint or first code violation in terms of housing to demolition. So there is a life cycle here someplace, and properties sort of go up and down on this over a span of years. And right now it's the least user-friendly website I've ever seen in my life. And the issue there is if investors can't find the properties, then chances are the properties are just going to sit and no one's ever going to improve on them. And then you wind up with a lot of abandoned properties. And so a few people in the city and on city council actually came together and asked us if we would develop a new portal for that. So over the next 2 weeks, we're going to spin up what is going to be a huge project that we'd like to finish by the end of the year. So we'll probably also bring it to the hackathon. And then we're working on a legislative data visualization project, and it has that really long terrible name because I can't name things. But it's my pet project and I love it. Right now, I'll talk about what it's going to do, because what it does right now is nothing. So what it's going to do is you're going to be able to look at who your representatives are at the state level and how they voted on things, which is a pretty basic thing that you can find out anywhere. But it's also going to immediately show you which bills they've sponsored, because that's not something that you see all the time, and that's something that a lot of representatives don't talk about all that much, and co-sponsorships and things like that. But we're also going to bring in campaign finance information, because the most interesting piece there, especially lately in politics, isn't the amount of money. Everyone's raising tons of money. Tons of money isn't the issue anymore. It's distance from district. That's the most interesting thing. And a lot of the money for the state elections are coming from outside of the states. And a lot of people don't realize that. And that's not like dependent on party. That's just in a general sense. And so we're looking for interesting ways to visualize all of that information at one time and to allow for visualizations to be built on the fly, because other things come into play too. Financing as it relates to issue. So, marriage equality and money seems to come from over here, or agriculture and money seems to come from over here. And these are the people that seem to sponsor here and they get their money from here. So there's a lot of really interesting things, and there's great APIs out there that we're using. So we have all of the data. Now we just have to build the thing. So I guess that's where we are on that. I've done the wireframes. Yay. And we have all the data, and we have some of the legwork done on certain parts of the back end that will return based on where you are when you access the site, who your representatives are, and what they voted for, and things like that. Those are the main things that we're working on. I feel like I'm forgetting something, and somebody's gonna be really upset with me because I feel like I've completely forgotten one, but that's okay.
Just come to the meeting.
Yeah,
and you'll find out.
We're really vocal about the things that we do, especially, I know I keep mentioning it, but with the hackathon coming up, we're going to be everywhere over the next 4 or 5 weeks. You'll see all kinds of flyers and posters and social media stuff. We want you to come.
And when is your next meeting?
It is
This coming Wednesday?
next Wednesday.
This-
Yes,
Not
next
this coming, so
Wednesday.
the following.
Like,
And
sorry.
Yeah, so the very next Wednesday after today.
This
Yeah.
coming Wednesday.
Yeah, sorry. I was like, hold on.
Gotcha.
Sophia, help me.
Yeah.
I have meetings every Wednesday for Coach Greensboro, so I have to remember which ones are the general hack links. Because there's a leader team of us that are planning everything, and we have all of the really boring meetings with all of the people in the city and the community. So, in any case, yeah, so this coming Wednesday, we will have another hack night at HQ Greensboro. We usually have food, so we'll have food at the next one, and it's usually pizza. We'll get your hopes up. So yeah. Anything else?
Where is?
HQ Greensboro?
Yeah.
111 West Lewis Street in downtown.
11 West.
111 West Lewis Street.
Lewis.
It's right next to the Forge, which is a makerspace.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Don't they charge for memberships? Don't they?
They do.
But it's $25 for students.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think that for students.
Oh, okay. When I checked, it was much more. But I checked when they were first getting started, because I used to go to the one in Durham. You ever been to the one in Spot
I
Place?
haven't been there, but yeah.
Oh, you should go. They got a whole bunch of
They're
stuff now.
building a second one, I think, in Winston too. There's already a makerspace in Winston, but they're building another makerspace in Winston.
I started going right when they ramped way up. Like they went from like 10 guys in a basement to like mass grants and everything
As
else.
happens in
They've got like 3 3D printers now and a laser cutter and everything.
So we're actually hoping to, on the night that we have our happy hour at HQ for the hackathon, we're working with the Forge to have them have an open house. So if you're attending the hackathon, you get to see hands-on what all the things are that go on at the Forge. And they're about to move, I think. I think they're moving just down the street, someplace into a space that's twice as big, so they can do more things. So there's cool stuff going on here. There's also a co-working space in downtown Greensboro that is an HQ that you can use for free as students.
Co-lab.
Co-lab. And if you're ever on Green Street, it's on Green and Sternberger. If you're ever down there, you can use space 9 to 5, which probably isn't the most convenient for you, but if you're ever there and you need to use a desk or something, you go in there. The community coordinator there is Alex, and she's amazing. I will vouch for her and go in there. It's great. Anything else?
What kind of things were created with the last hackathon?
Well, the last hackathon was actually part of a national event called National Day of Civic Hacking. So the projects that we worked on, one of them was the Legislative Data Visualization Project, which actually has changed a bit since then. So we did a lot of work. Some of it is that back end that we kept, but a lot of the other stuff that got done, we sort of scrapped. And we did one of the teams worked on a project that used census data, and I don't know where they got it. I don't know what exactly the data told them, but it had something to do with, they were trying to build a project to show the brain drain in terms of graduates from UNCG and A&T specifically, and where they're going, so changes in population based on census data versus graduates from these 2 universities, and then changes in population for the major cities in North Carolina to see if they could show some relationship there, and of course they did, because. And what else did we do? We did some projects related to food. We were going to build, actually they did get built, it was just a quick dashboard where you could put in your address and it would tell you whether or not you were in a food desert. That was part of it. A lot of people in Greensboro, there are 27 food deserts in this metropolitan area, which makes us #1 in the whole country, which is insane, given all of the advantages that we have here in this area, which there are some, so it's a shame when you hear statistics like that. But we were using that as a way to inform the public about whether or not they were in a food desert. Yes, sorry.
He had a question. What's a food desert?
Yeah.
A food desert, you are living in a food desert if you would have to leave your house and travel more than 2 miles to get fresh food, so produce and things like that. And 2 miles is a lot of space, but not a lot of space. So if you have to go more than 2 miles from anywhere in Greensboro to find food, that's a big problem. And that's why it's so staggering that between Greensboro and High Point, it's 27 food deserts.
When you say, and I don't know if you know this, but when you say 27, is that like 27 like small?
Some of them are
some
not
of them
small.
are. Do you, like, so you have an area for each.
Oh yeah, and you can, there's some really great reporting that have been done, and a lot of maps that have been, colored and all kinds of other stuff. If you just Google food deserts in Greensboro, you'll get them, and it's just, some of them are huge. And a lot of them are actually around the joint school. So there's one right there around the joint school, and that's why the area plan that's gonna get done for that area this year is so important, because there are a lot of, and that's sort of crazy if you think about the technology and the beautiful building that's there, and then consider the area around it, there's not much, there's huge disparity there, obviously, so we'd like to work within that space if we can. It was a totally different type of hackathon. It wasn't a cash prize sort of environment. And we'll do that one again in June. That's usually around the 5th or 6th of the month. So unfortunately, it was right after everybody left. So that's okay. Yeah, this one will be come and register your team and work all day and win money. So, yeah. And eat food. Lots of food. Anything else? I hope that wasn't too boring.
No. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. So I have a lot of announcements. If you guys are interested in hackathons, like I have like a tiny list of hackathons this semester. So she talked about the code for Greensboro one, and that's November 6th through the 8th. November 6th through the 8th, and that costs a little bit of money. And there's Hack and See, which is at UNC, and that's completely free. And if you get some people to carpool, they'll pay for the gas. So that's Hack and See. If you look that up, they usually do software and hardware. They usually provide Arduinos, Raspberry Pis, Pebbles that you can rent out for the weekend. Yes?
If you're interested in the ACM, we're taking a group too. So.
Oh, awesome. Well, then that'd be great. I think registration is like up till this weekend. And then after this weekend, they have to review because like a lot of people are coming. So they'll accept you immediately if you go and sign up. And then there's Duke Hack, which they also have a civic hacking theme. Duke Hack. And that's in November, the week after theirs. So this is during our fall break.
October 9th through 11th, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
The Hack and See is October 9th, yeah.
Yeah, October 9th
Duke.
through 11th. So that's during our fall break. And this is right after this one. So if you're a hack junkie, probably like me, you should go to all of them. But if not, it's fine. I believe this one is free and this one is free. So go. And she talked about GitHub. We're having a GitHub tutorial on Monday the 21st in this room, and possibly in 222 if you don't have a computer. So if you want to learn about GitHub, install it on your computer, and maybe possibly work on a project on GitHub, like using it, you should come out Monday the 21st from 5 to 7. And I'll send out emails for that. Does anyone else have any announcements?
Join ACM or STARS.
Join ACM or STARS or STARS. Yeah. Talk to, oh God, forgot names. That person and that person for information, because I don't know any information about that. So on to what did you learn this week? I can start off if you guys, you want to go? Okay. Well, so I learned this today, and I'm really excited about it because I'm also helping her with a kids Arduino project. Yeah. So I learned that you can power an Arduino with a potato. So I'm going to try to do that. That exists.
One
yes,
potato?
that exists. An Arduino.
One potato?
One,
That's what the
It's got
internet
very
said.
long.
Arduinos are what, 5 volts?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure you could do it, I just don't know if one
So I
potato.
totally forgot about this completely other thing, because I kill all free time in my life. We, as part of the Code for Greensboro's mission is education, for all people. So people your age, we want you to come to us and join us as part of our group. But what's really important to us, because a lot of us are parents, are educating younger kids and students and just people. And so one of the things that we're going to do is have what we call Code Camp. So twice a month on Sundays, we're going to be teaching middle schoolers programming. And to start off this weekend, because that's Sunday, yes, we're having an open house for middle schoolers, and we're going to be working with them throughout the school year on Arduino projects. And so we're looking for people to tell their middle school siblings or friends' children to come. It's going to be at HP Greensboro also. But also, if you're interested in mentoring, please let Sophia know, and she'll point you in our direction. And or if you're interested in donating an Arduino kit or helping to offset the cost, because we don't want there to be a financial barrier to STEM education for anybody, definitely let her know. I totally forgot about that, so thank you for saying something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Potato, Arduino.
Potato.
That's what I'm gonna do. Did anybody learn anything or in the past week or 2 weeks? Nothing? Why are you here? Oh, okay. What's your name?
Philip.
Hi, Philip.
I learned we're in a food desert.
Yes. You educated all the people. Oh, yeah.
I learned about all these different places I could get involved in computer science and community. Very nice.
Are you going to get involved?
I would love to.
Okay. Awesome.
Does it have to be just in class?
Whatever.
Oh, I learned about return-oriented programming.
Explain, please.
It's usually used for some nefarious things. But the best examples, like game consoles, you can't execute arbitrary, like you can't return code and run it on a console. But you can execute the code that's already on the console. So you basically jump from command to command that's already written on the console to basically execute your own scripts from what's already been written for code. So it's a way to execute code when you can't write to it.
So what was that called again? Return.
Return-oriented programming.
I'll have to go back and review that.
It's really complex. I didn't understand most of what I was reading, but I got the concept and it's pretty cool.
Nothing? Crazy little birds. Okay. We have 5 minutes.
Well, you have your thing.
Oh yeah, I have a raffle.
I'm gonna leave some stickers and some cards, and feel free to take my card.
Can I have a sticker?
It will not. That's up to her.
Oh.
Yes, I've conveyed
There's a
property
lot
to
of-
her. There's 10 of them. I didn't have any.
Oh.
Were you here? You failed to mention that they're in news.
Oh,
I
wait.
said 30, but
I don't remember
it's like 44.
There are some cards here. It won't be creepy for you to email me about anything that I talked about or other random things.
Yes. Well, thank you all for coming. I know a lot of you are here because of extra credit, but hopefully, hopefully you got something out of it and will participate in other things outside of school. But I will do the raffle for the t-shirt once my phone will accept my password. Oh, also, the people watching, thank you for watching. I think there was 8 people watching.
It's 6 now.
Oh, okay. Okay. The winner is Ray Cochran.
Cool.
Yeah!
You get a t-shirt.
That means you're having fun.
Okay.
Go hang out with us. You've been appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, okay, I have to go.
Thank you,
too.
everybody.
Thank you again.
That's really good.
If you can't tell, I like singers.
Everyone's like keeps talking about it, and I'm still not quite sure what goes on. They're like, oh yeah, we work on all these projects. There's also like a competition, but there's also like money. I hope those run. You run for 6 miles while like trying to write some code. That's like a thon, like right? A hackathon, like a marathon full of computers. Like you're just running. Like you got like the arm thing. Feels like
Just sweating all over the keyboard.
you like press like RoboCop.
It's really fun. Yeah, I went to one, and there was like, it was, I really didn't know her, Maya. She was in my computer science class, the girl with the long hair, like everyone else in her school. No, we did a really lame battleship program, like compared to everything else. We could like develop pull-out, because Google was there and Pat was there, and they were like, oh, well, here,
What hackathon did you go to?
yeah, it was the all girls thing, so there's like lots of nice, so much free shit. It almost feels unfair, but then when I got that Raspberry Pi, I'm actually pointing at right now.
Oh.
Okay, if you want to do it.
Okay, yeah. I could say, come on, we're gonna do stuff right now. Like 20 years, like it's always so.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, we looked at it a little bit yesterday, but.
Yeah.
We haven't done it.
Yay! Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I actually wanted that card, but they don't need a card.
Oh, also, do you, sorry, I just keep talking about statistics, but, do you know, do like the computer stuff? Because there's like, or not computer, the calculator stuff, there's a lot of like, you can just put the data in and it'll spit out like
Like
standard
R?
deviation and the R.
Yeah.
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 Okay, can you study with us for the exam?
Yeah.
I know, because we were
Is the
studying.
exam on Tuesday?
No, he rescheduled it. He pushed it back. It was supposed to be next Wednesday, and he pushed